Building Character is brought to you by the United States Marine Corps.
It's the one thing that really hasn't changed in the past few months.
In the midst of chaos, 18-year-old Vinny Tosti found a constant in a time of change. Baseball, still there when all else was lost.
There was not even 1% of me that thought it could have actually happened.
Normal day. I actually had just taken my senior pictures like on the baseball field that night and just went home.
His final moment on the Cardinal Newman High School baseball field and the last in his home burned so clearly in his memory.
I heard my dad downstairs and he was like, "Oh, we gotta go, there's a fire in the area. Grab anything important to me." But it just kind of went over my head thinking we were gonna go back the next morning.
The deadly Santa Rosa wildfires robbing him of all he had known.
He went back and checked on the house the next morning and it was gone.
First of all, what were you feeling when you were told that your house was no longer?
Pretty much right after I woke up, my dad called me, and when he told me, like, I immediately started crying, but like after a few minutes, I just kind of went numb.
The one thing actually I will never forget is, Vinny put his head down and started crying. So that, I think that image will probably stick in my head the most. I think that, along with a week later actually physically going to see the house, just kind of put some finality to it.
We honestly didn't know which one was my house because everything was just flat. And we ended up finding it because there was a car parked in the front. It was crazy. We all just kind of stood there in silence and looked at everything burning, and we were kind of trying to figure out like where my room was or if we could find certain things, but it was unrecognizable.
Looking for a way to resume a life close to the one he knew, Vinny looked to baseball for a reminder.
To be honest, that was probably the easiest thing for me, just because I knew baseball was like kind of my escape from all that stuff, and you just got to separate each at bat, and that's kind of what I've been doing the last few months with every day, just kind of taking it day by day and separating things, and it makes it easier.
The sport also introducing him to Maxwell Foxcroft, a modern-day baseball player who Vinny met at the University of Oregon. The place, the pair pledged their commitment to baseball. Future teammates quickly turning to brothers, with the Foxcroft family inviting Vinny to move in with them so he could finish out his senior year on the baseball team.
I think his perseverance and his ability to cope and deal with the adversity and just the fact that he's still the same Vinny.
And as he reflects on his struggle, he discovers reward.
I definitely picked the harder thing to do by coming down here second semester of my senior year and having to meet new people and leaving my family and friends behind, but it's been nothing but a blessing, really. I've met so many great people down here and I've had so many great opportunities, and I can't be more thankful.
What's your biggest takeaway from all this?
Just appreciate the little things. I think before I was super appreciative of my parents and my friends and all that, but just the little things like coming home to your mom making dinner, it's just like something little like that that you look over every day, or your friends after a hard day or something, just stuff like that that's in your everyday life that isn't really there anymore. I definitely appreciate it more that I'm removed from it now. I definitely take a moment to reflect every day and count all the blessings that I have.